What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we've got a lot going on in markets. So this is going to be kind of a unique video. I'm going to try to make it short and run through a Twitter thread that I just did to kind of overlay the things that I'm looking at here in the market. If you don't know, there's been a big geopolitical event that has occurred overnight. I don't know what, YouTube's algorithm is going to do in order to if there's certain words that are going to be blocked or whatnot. So I'm going to try to keep my words in check here. But a simple cruise through Twitter or your local news will tell you, there's a big geopolitical event. And then last night, as this started, we saw the prices of assets everywhere move. So we're going to dive into this really quick. I'm going to read this tweet thread, and then I'll take some more time this morning to deep dive into everything going on. But this is just so I can get something out pretty quickly this morning. As we know, the market is very red right now. And so in a thread this morning, I went through and summarized the things that I'm seeing happening in the market right now. So let's go through this together. This is a pretty climatic moment. I'm not a geopolitical expert or capable of solving 5D chess that gets played during these geopolitical situations, but we can look at how the charts are reacting to this. It appears Bitcoin is now deviating from its 5.5 month structure, in which we can see that Bitcoin is now dipping below what it's been doing for 5.5 months. At the same time this is all occurring, significant things are happening market-wide. For example, in 2014, this was oil's breakdown level. 5 years of higher lows, then it crashed from here. This moment has caused oil to break through that resistance. And when we look back at the price chart of oil in here, we can see back in 2009 all the way to 2014, we had series of higher lows. Eventually, it did set its first lower low, and the price of oil did crash from here. You could see this has been the battle resistance that we've been at, and overnight, as all these events are unfolding, oil has broken through the crash level that took place back in 2014. At the same time, precious metals are breaking upward, having the biggest days they've seen in years, with gold, silver, and platinum all pushing up. In which, if we look at these candles that are happening here on these precious metals, we haven't seen moves like this since back in 2020. This appears to be the biggest green candle percentage-wise that we've seen over here on gold dating back to C19 times. At the same time, the DXY, or the US dollar currency index, is taking a pop upwards as well, up almost 1% in a day, which is a big move for the DXY in one day, which is a flight to safety. We can see that the dollar has taken a big pop in one day. It's 1% for one day. That's a lot. Last time we saw those types of moves, we're back in here, C19 times again. Also, the US stock market futures are taking a hit, with the Dow Jones negative 856 and not looking pretty. So this is the futures of the Dow before the market opens today. We could see we've got a big fat red line coming out of the Dow. We've studied the Dow Jones in relation to the 1920s many times, in that we are in a giant bubble. I've showed this many times over there on Twitter, and I've shown it several times here on my YouTube channel, the structure of how the Dow Jones is looking in relation to the roaring 20s. But in this next tweet, we're going to kind of focus on this area right in here. There was a volatility range that occurred up near these equivalent areas of a bubble structure back in the 1920s. The lowest end of that boundary is around 32,000 for the Dow Jones. And well, the Dow Jones is at 32,200 right now in pre-market trading. Not sure what would happen if it dipped below that. I've kind of zoomed in on this area to show you this big volatility boundary range that occurred up in here before it had its final excessive move. We can see the boundary ranges on here. It dips down to about 32,000 in here, with the top up there at about 36,900. So obviously this is copied from the 1920s. This doesn't mean it was at these prices, but it's an equivalent bubble structure of how there was this volatility range that took place right in here. But as we can see, commodities are taking off and equities are taking a fall overnight, and cryptos are getting lumped in with the equities basket being tied to the stock market. A concerning thing for me is that total 3, the remaining altcoin market, is dipping below the 0.702 retracement level. If we were having an Elliott wave structure, this is starting to deviate during this event, in which we've counted the waves up in here and how it has pulled back with ABC with a 535 correction structure in here back to that 702. And then now, as we can see during this event, we're dipping lower. We've spent a lot of time going through the inverse or inverted charts to show how these things usually play out. And while it would have been nice to fully rely on a 5.5 month fractal, I kept pointing to this because it's the most common way things happen. in which we're all familiar with this. We flipped Bitcoin upside down for the long-term reversal structure compared to 2018. We've compared this to XRP. We've compared this to the gold to silver ratio to show what these things usually look like. And as it's appearing that we're starting to deviate away from that fractal, this is the most common thing that we see happen in these structures. And while it's a climatic moment, and I can't reasonably conclude to any degree what the next move will be during this geopolitical event or the consequences of it, especially with it happening in the last several hours, my fingers are crossed that we are following that structure. We see oil breaking out. Logic tells me that could lead to more inflation. Gold, silver, and precious metals are breaking out. Inflation hedge assets. Those were the leaders in 2020, but I've got my eyes on that stock market, and fingers are crossed this wraps up soon. So that's kind of where we're at right now, or this early in the morning, and I'm going to try to get through this really fast and upload this. But we can kind of see what's happening over there with oil. We can see what's happening with precious metals, with the US dollar, with the stock market, with Bitcoin, with crypto. It's a volatile moment right now. And for me, my fingers are crossed. That volatile moment is almost over. But again, we're treading into unknown waters, right? Will there be long-term consequences of what is happening, or will this event wrap itself up really quickly? Is this kind of the climatic moment? We've had downward price action happening in stock market, happening in cryptocurrencies for several months at this point. Is this the climatic ending to all of it? That's the big question. The only thing I can do is look at structures and say, are we still following structures that we typically follow? And this has been the main one that we've been focusing on for a year at this point. And as we have more time for today, for more information to come out, we'll hopefully get a better idea of the direction all of this is going in by later in today. And so on that note, I'll wrap this up very quickly. I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.